Alright, so welcome to part 6 of the pond build. Things have been really slow over the last 3 weeks, so I apologise for that. I ordered some more blocks and sand because I'd run out, and the supplier that I used online was incredibly slow. I had loads of problems with them, but I finally got all the stuff here now, so we don't need to dwell on that too long, but it means I'm behind by a couple of weeks from where I'd like to be. But yeah, we're going to be flying now, hopefully over the next week or two. Today I've been cutting in the blocks for the window, and we'll go into a bit more detail about that now, and we'll be finishing off a bit of the block work, and also I'm going to be concreting in the 3 returns that I'll have going into this pond as well. So we're going to go into loads of detail and talk about how I'm going to be doing that later on in the video. I'm currently sat in the pond at the moment, so I'll spin you around and show you the cuts that I've done on the window before we go back to yesterday when I actually cut them, and talking about what I'm actually doing in detail there. So I'll just spin you around. You can see I've got the blocks for the window sat there now, and if we take a closer look, you can see that I have cut in a nice right angle all the way along, a nice uniform even depth for the glass to sit into, which I'll go into the dimensions of that in the clip from yesterday in a moment. But yeah, I'm really happy with how they've turned out so far. Yeah, so hopefully I can get these concreted in nice and level, get a few layers of block work done, get these pipe works in, and then we'll really be flying. So yeah, I'll leave you now with the clip from yesterday. Alright, so I'm just starting to cut the recess in on the window for the base. I'm going for a 3cm cut off and 6cm down for the overlap. Should give me plenty of space for the liner to stick to on the back of the glass, and also should be enough, the 6cm drop into the block should give plenty of dispersion on the glass to stop it from breaking, because the edges are the weakest. So the way I'm cutting these blocks up, maybe not the ideal way to do it, but I have this circular saw with a masonry diamond tip blade in it. The reason for this is because I can get the exact depth that I want uniformly, because I can set this plate to the 6cm depth, knock through all the blocks, and then cut in from the other way, and that'll give me that right angle for the glass to sit on. Whereas if I was using just a standard big block saw, I would be free holding the weight of the saw, if you get what I mean, so the depth wouldn't be uniform as such. So I'm just trying to make things as even as possible with that. So I've marked this up to 3cm on this side. I'm going to cut through it with the saw now, and then I'm going to do all the blocks that I need for the base of the window at this depth, and then I will turn the blocks on the side, set the depth again, and cut in from the other way to take that right angle out. The reason for not doing them one at a time is just because I don't want to move that base plate and risk it not quite sitting in the right place and getting an uneven side on the base. Not that it will matter too much, because I can float it with packers when I put the glass in anyway, but it's better to be as even as possible. So I'm going to cut these up now, and then we'll look at cutting up the side blocks in a moment. Alright, so it's been quite a long day so far. I managed to get all those blocks cut up. You just saw how I was doing that in the last little clip. We've now got those all cemented in place, and it's came out pretty well. It's slightly uneven with the cuts, not far out, but they'll easily be rectified with the silicone going into the window. So I'll just spin you around and show you those cuts now. So there we go, we're all in place, and it's came out quite a nice cut on there now. So as I say, that's looking to be about a 1600mm window, and then height wise Somewhere around 800 is what I was looking at, but when I stacked the blocks up there at the 800 height the other day, it looked really tall. So I think it's how this garden slopes, so I might come a little bit lower and dig down a tad more, but we'll come to that as we get to it. But so yeah, we're also installing the inlets into the pond. I'm planning to put 3 returns into this pond, and I know a lot of people core drill through the blocks to get the holes in the pipes in, but I saw a couple of people doing it this way. I think James the Koi Whisperer on his pond build, he done it that way from what I could tell, and so I'll just spin you around and show you how I'm doing them. So this is the first return. The pipe is way bigger than it needs to be, so it gives me plenty to work with the insulation on the inside and fitting the joints on the outside, but I've also just kept those loose. So what I've done is just, I'll show you me doing the next one in a minute, but it means I can pull that out if I need to at the moment, once it's all gone off fully, and it'll let me put the inlets and the pipe work on the back a lot easier and cut the pipe down to size. So we're having 3 returns. We've got 1 in the back corner, we've got 1 sideways, 1 over here, and then we're now about to do the 3rd one. So I'll set my tripod up and I'll show you how I'm installing those. Alright, so I've cut down this section of 2-inch pipework which we'll be using, which is a lot longer than I need to give me plenty of room for fittings either side, and once I've got insulation in there. So first up, I'm laying down some mortar in the gap, doing 2 blocks either side, all set at the right height, and it'll give me something to build around. So we're just laying some mortar in there. We'll get that in nice and flat to start with, and then we take the pipework, just lay it in. Got a small spirit level there, and we'll just get this nice and level, pointing in straight down the middle. Just give it a little wobble, and that'll bed itself in nicely there. So that is plumb level, and then just use the trowel to lean around, just bed that down on the back and on both sides, and then we'll just slowly start building up around it. And if you've got decent gloves on so they don't get wrecked, your hands don't get all covered in it. And I just slowly build it up until it's all covered up, and then I'll just work this in, and then I'll show you the finished product in a minute. Alright, so we've finished that return. So if I just spin you around and show you how that came out. There we go. It's not perfectly smooth, but it's going to be covered with insulation, and it's more than good enough. So if we show you around on both sides, and then it's relatively level. Should be able to see there on the bubble. So I'm happy with that. So yeah, that saves buying a core drill bit and having to cut through all the block work, and it's pretty much impossible at that far end with how we are with the walls to get a bit in from the other direction. So I thought this would be a pretty good way of doing it, and it should be more than strong enough once it goes off. So yeah, I'm really happy with the day's work. We've got another layer on the pond. The returns are in their positions, and we've got a really nice start on the cutout for the window. So yeah, things are really cracking on now. I've got a week off next week, so I've got plenty of things that I'm going to be doing with the dog, and also with my wife. So not all going to be pond work, but we should get another couple of layers on at least. I'm hoping to get this block work done fairly soonly in the next week or so, and then we can be working on the filter house and the drainage systems, because I've got some interesting ideas for the drainage for this pond, because there's no drain nearby. And all these trickle in, trickle outs, brilliant as they are, which I will be having, they're also wasting a hell of a lot of water. So the plan is, if I just spin you around, I might be able to talk you through it a little bit. You see we've got this raised area here that leads against my garage, which the filters will be in. The plan is to get an Arco drain to go along the floor so that I can wash anything down into the drains from the filters. I can clean the nexus into there, purge the bottom drains all into that, but the plan is to have that going into an IBC into the garage behind me, maybe 2 IBCs, probably 2 600 IBCs, and that way I can then have a pump system in there and I'll be able to water all my garden, all my plants, everything that from the wastewater from the pond, because otherwise that water's just going straight down the drain. And also, if I'm reusing all the water and not putting it into the sewage system, I can look into the option of getting an extra meter put in by the water board and getting a reduction on my water usage as it's not going through the sewage. So that's the plan at the moment. I've seen a few options for doing it. My dog is getting a bit annoyed beside me, as you can see, because I'm not paying him any attention doing this pond all day. Although he's had a couple of walks, so he should be alright. But yeah, that's the rough plan. So thanks for watching. Going to crack on with some more block work this evening, and then I'll talk to you in the next video once we've got a bit further down the line. Thanks for watching. Click like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.